President Donald Trump is broke, and he is facing a lot of lawsuits that he could potentially lose because he no longer has the cash to be able to defend himself. So now this was detailed in an article in Politico, so let me read that. Apparently, Trump's cash-strapped campaign is now frantically attempting to collect settlements in legal disputes because it needs money for other legal disputes. That's awesome. So now these cases are in danger of being dismissed. So now one of the cases they detailed is a case of Omarosa. Now you guys remember Omarosa Manigault Newman. She and this is one of my favorite stories from early on in the year, or was it even 2019? I mean, who knows when all this stuff came up because honestly, 2020 has felt like probably 5 years. 5 to 10 years, that's what it felt like. So it might have been even early in 2020 when we talked about Omarosa. She actually used to work in the White House. And so what happened is that she was, I don't remember if she was fired from the White House or if she had quit. She might have been fired by John Kelly. And she was not happy about it and decided to write a book about how Donald Trump was racist. Now, it was funny because when she worked in the White House, she would intentionally dig up articles from like Breitbart, right-wing publications, as well as like MSNBC, about how people were shit-talking Trump. So that was pretty funny. And so now there are lawsuits from Omarosa. A lawsuit towards Omarosa for writing that book. So now the campaign is pressing Omarosa to make a delinquent $52,000 payment for writing an unauthorized book about White House doings. The report explains the money is desperately needed. According to this report, the campaign is currently engaged in a flurry of legal actions in the days before the election, which is an indication, they say, that the money is tight, pointing out that Trump's people have previously pushed to collect $1 million from Manigault Newman. Politico reports that the campaign is under the gun to keep itself funded. And so, look, that's bad for the campaign. If the campaign doesn't have money, they can't really do the things the campaigns do. They can't really run a lot of ads. They can't do a lot of mailers, door-to-door operations in specific states. And so that's a problem. And, of course, usually the health and viability of a campaign is measured in how much money that they have on hand, how much cash they have on hand, and how much money that they are able to raise. Democrats have massively outraised the Trump campaign. For example, in August, Democrats outraised Republicans by $154 million. In September, Biden raised $383 million to Donald Trump's $247.8 million. And look, the funny thing about Trump's campaign is how much they actually waste money. Now, they wasted a ton of money under Brad Parscale. Parscale was the former campaign manager for President Trump for his campaign. He also, of course, ran Trump's 2016 campaign and wasted a lot of money. A lot of that money went from his donors to Brad Parscale's pocket through his various different businesses. So now he's not part of the campaign anymore because of his misappropriation of a lot of money that went into his personal businesses. And so now you have, of course, Bill Stepien, who was stepped in. I was going to do a disastrous pun, but I decided against it. You're welcome. But apparently, changing the campaign manager to Stepien didn't really do a whole lot for the campaign because there's not much you can do. I mean, there are things that Donald Trump still wants to do. For example, still playing ads in the Washington, D.C. media market, still playing ads in Wisconsin, even though the campaign has basically said we're not going to win Wisconsin. And so they're still doing that because Donald Trump will get mad at them for not running ads in Wisconsin. And so that's one thing that they have to navigate. Donald Trump. And that's really the elephant in the room. Like, how are we supposed to run this campaign efficiently when we're not raising as much money? And we have Donald Trump yelling at us every time we do something differently. And so that is interesting. All right. Now, there's more. Let's see. The Omarosa lawsuit, according to Politico, is only the tip of the iceberg of different lawsuits that the campaign is involved in, with Politico reporting that the campaign is helping to fight accusations that Trump had harassed and sexually assaulted women. It's a much more serious one than Omarosa. It's also helping to keep documents about his business deals hidden. Other cases are proactive, such as attempts to enforce non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs, to punish media companies the campaign accuses of defamation. And it is responding to lawsuits from people who say that they were assaulted at Trump events, including one from a Missouri man who claimed that he was arrested after laughing at a MAGA rally. So that's a lot of lawsuits. Those lawsuits, by the way, they're not going to go away after the election. Whether or not Donald Trump wins, they're not going away. Now, if Donald Trump loses, oh, that's a disaster. Then he can no longer use that campaign money to fight those lawsuits. He's got to use his own money. He's already $421 million in the hole. I mean, that's how much he owes. But there are financial disclosures that also indicate that he's nearly $1 billion in debt. So this guy is poor. He is broke. And the bills are coming due. Oh, man. So now Bradley Moss, Washington lawyer who defended one of Trump's targets, said this, quote, "Even if he loses the election, very little actually ends once Trump leaves the White House in January 2021. Litigation Trump has personally brought under his own name or through the campaign, whether it be protecting his tax returns or suing Omarosa, will continue for however long there is money to pay the lawyers," which may not be much longer, actually. According to the report, the lawyers may be wary of continuing their representation of the president once he's out of office because of his extensive history in actually not paying people for jobs that they've done for him. I mean, for example, private contractors, bartenders, painters, real estate brokers, and others have all claimed that Donald Trump has not paid them for the jobs that they've done. So he's notorious for this. He even stiffed the Freedom Girls. You remember the Freedom Girls back from 2016? It's a troop of young girls that would go and perform at rallies. He didn't even pay them. I mean, this guy is skipped out on all of his bills. And, he declares bankruptcy often, at least 6 times. And so he's probably going to do so again, whether or not he wins the election. It's going to be amazing to see. Have we ever had a bankrupt president? Very interesting. It should be very interesting to see. Because, again, those bills are absolutely coming due. So now, one more thing here. The report also says that Trump has been accused of failing to pay local officials who provide thousands of dollars in security assistance to the president during his campaign rallies. Of course, Washington, D.C., he still owes for that, that military parade that he tried to throw. And so he owes a lot of states and cities and contractors and lawyers and who knows who else all sorts of money. He's in a desperate world of hurt. Not only is he morally bankrupt, but I think in this case, he's literally going to be bankrupt. And I don't think the Russians or anyone else are going to come to his defense anymore. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.